Whatever is measured can be managed. And if it is managed, you can make it grow. Dr. Trudy Beerman here. I am going to share my 2025 baseline stats with you because I am my own case study. When I teach, I am not teaching from a place of theory or academic book learning, although I have both of those, right? I am teaching what I know, not something I read in a book yesterday. So I am my own case study. When you have a product to share, a book, a message, a service, the more people you can serve, the more influential you are, and the bigger your expanding growth, and maybe even the more income you can make. So depending, of course, some of you are nonprofits and just, you're not really making any money, but you're serving a lot of people. My two YouTube accounts currently are at 25,400 subscribers. That's different from views. LinkedIn at 13,461, Instagram 16,000 something. X I just recently started focusing on 713. My email list, I'll get to that in a minute. TV installs a little over 7,000. My Facebook account completely hacked and lost. Now, I believe that happened after I made my video on my overview of 2025, which kind of touched on some of this, but I'm going into my metrics in a little bit more detail because I'm going to be focused on my brand growth in 2026. So if you're interested in watching that video, a link will be here in the description for you that you can watch my overview of 2026. But this video is focusing on my personal brand metrics for growth that I will be following up on in 2026. Now, when my Facebook account got hacked on December 17th, this was a huge loss to me. Now, the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. He knows exactly what's happening. The Bible says in John 10:10, the devil prowls and he comes to kill, steal, and destroy. Of course, goes on to say, but Jesus came to give us life and have it more abundantly. But he comes to kill, steal, and destroy. He's not coming if there isn't something to kill, steal, or destroy. Nobody's breaking into a house that's abandoned and torn up, right? So it's only where something valuable exists that people try to create havoc. So my Facebook on December 17th was hacked, and despite the appeal, Facebook decided not to give it back to me. This is a huge loss to me because between all my pages, I had not only almost 100,000 in follower count there, but I had curated my ideal audience. I had built relationships with my ideal audience there. Here's a mistake that I made that I will not be making going forward that you should not make. So here is the overview. So after decades of being on Facebook, here is the very hard lesson I had to learn. See, my email list, it needs to grow because I did not do a very good job of inviting many of those new relationships to connect with me on a platform that I had more ownership of. Social media platforms are great for discovery, but they are like rented spaces, and you all know that they can block your posts or turn you off at a moment's notice. So I've lost not only all those contacts, but I also lost decades of baby pictures, grandkids pictures, all kinds of things like that. You do not want to make that mistake going forward. Now, I really used to think that email was kind of dead, and I was more interested in staying on the social platforms. That has changed for me, and it was a painful lesson to learn. So my email count is something that I'm absolutely going to be focusing on going forward. Now, what you'll notice when you're building your follower count, that you're going to have the very cold audience who has never heard of you. You do something that you get their attention. But according to research, it is now showing that it takes a minimum of 11 touch points for people to think that they have just first heard of you. In other words, they've seen your name, heard your name, watched whatever. Until the 11th piece of experience has happened, that is the first time that they'll think they've just freshly heard of you. So what this means is you have got to be I intend to be very active in putting out the content so that people will not only from the very cold audience who have never heard of me start to hear about me, but then they move through the relationship from, yeah, I've heard of her, to, oh yeah, I know who she is, oh, I really like her stuff, to, then they may buy or do some business with me. So follower count is very important, because the more, for many of you, if you ever track your conversions, you know, I used to be in real estate and insurance and all that, and a lot of those would say you had to have about 100 names to get one sale. Now, that's not quite my experience in my TV space, but the point is, the more followers you have is the more opportunities you have to get the conversion. So follower count, super important. I will be focusing on that even more in 2026, but I will be making a bigger effort to move my followers off of those discovery platforms, those social platforms, and inviting them into my ecosystem. So like I said, follower count is an important authority signal, worthy of its own thing, but there are other authority signals that I will be focusing on in 2026. These authority signals are the digital footprint that the internet will find in a discovery. So if someone's searching for anything, what I do, will the internet suggest me? If you are not showing up online, you have zero opportunity to be found. My goal, not only for my brand, but for those I serve, is to get found and featured for what you do. So the other authority signals that matter. Now, first of all, my own REACHology score is 65%. The REACHology score is a proprietary AI tool that I created, so that once you put the input of telling the system who you are, who you serve, what you do, all your credentials, everything that it asks for, any person releases you've had, any books you've written and all that, you tell it, this is who I am, this is what I want to be known for. The REACHology score will go out into the interwebs and see if it can match what you said about yourself with what is visible out there. So for example, when I got my doctorate, my certificate is hanging on the wall. I do have it. But if I have not mentioned that anywhere, it's not visible online. It's like having a baby and not getting a birth certificate. The baby exists. It's a real baby, but without the paper trail, it's harder to confirm that this child exists. So my REACHology score currently sits at 65. Now, the higher up the REACHology score, then after a while, you have to use other signals. But the REACHology score is a great way to identify the gaps in your influential reach. What is true about you, and what the internet and ChatGPT and all those can actually find about you should someone do a search. Now, ChatGPT incognito. I put incognito here for a reason. I've been chatting with ChatGPT for a long time. So my ChatGPT knows me. So what I did was I went into incognito of ChatGPT, and ChatGPT could not find me. Can you believe that? So I went to ChatGPT incognito. Can you see in private right here? And I asked, who is Dr. Trudy Beerman? And it says, Dr. Trudy Beerman is an educator, researcher, and social scientist. This is not me. This is not me, okay? So this is ChatGPT hallucinating, because there is no other Dr. Trudy Beerman out there. I checked. So I did a search in incognito. To get to incognito, guys, you go to the three dots on your computer and you go to new in private window. That way it's not picking up any cache or any other prior things you have done. So it's like having a fresh browser. And ChatGPT was unable to find me. Now, this is important because Google is still the largest search engine, but ChatGPT and other AI searches are now becoming important. So when ChatGPT couldn't find me, this is something I will be correcting in 2026. What does that mean? If it can't find me, it can't recommend me, right? But it's not the only AI engine out there. So I went to Perplexity AI. That's another AI tool. So you can see I'm still in private. And when I asked who's Dr. Trudy Beerman, it found me, including pictures, and everything here is absolutely correct about me. Now, what this means is canonically, I am findable by AI to a degree, but not widespread. This is important because I will be making structural and authority signal changes to my websites and so forth, so that I have a higher chance of being picked up in the future. Now, I'm not going to be sharing the strategy of how to do that here, but if you work with me, then you will learn it, because I absolutely know what to do. It's just I had to have a baseline to know where to grow from, because again, I was so focused on finishing school. It took up a lot of bandwidth. I was only able to focus on one-on-done services. My business was significantly part-time. And since then, I have focused on rebuilding my websites, building out some of these AI tools, setting up the systems so that in 2026, I'm not really building, I'm just tweaking, perfecting, and adding more people. So ChatGPT, incognito, but Perplexity could find me. The next thing is Google My Business. Now, Google My Business was not very important to me until recently. Again, my head was so buried down in my work of school, did not really pay attention to Google My Business. If you have a local service and you're looking for local clients who drive to you or you drive to them, you absolutely need to focus on your Google My Business profile. I recently started focusing on it, and I still made a big mistake, which I'll share with you in a moment. Now, the reason why I started focusing on it is because I have an intention to improve my local footprint. Why? Because my husband gave me a challenge to host a live event and fill the room. And I can't fill the room if I'm depending on the followers that I currently have, which are like even my TV guests, Australia, Canada, they're all over the place, right? They're not likely to make that big travel to come see me right now. I'm not that big of a brand yet. So for me to fill the room, I needed to improve my local footprint. So my Google My Business, when I say it was messed up and it's now fixed, what does that mean? So when I set up my Google My Business for my local office, because I have an office, I don't just work from home, I have an actual office. I set it up and I got verified and I was perfect. And then I realized the big mistake. Guys, I'm telling you, when I teach you, it has cost me a lot to learn what I share with you, whether because I've paid coaching fees or I've bought programs or I've taken courses or I've paid to learn, like paid for ads, whatever, and all those mess ups and everything. So here's the Google My Business mess that I have now. It's not 100% fixed, but now I understand what's going on. I did my Google My Business for PSI TV. I did it for my business. But what I found out with both my YouTube and my Google My Business, people are searching for me. They are not searching for PSI TV. This is why my focus going forward has been to build personal brands. My signature nom de valeur program, build a name of value. So in Proverbs 22, verse 1, it says a good name is better than riches. Because if you have a good name, riches is probably going to follow. So I focus on building the personal brand. And I learned to do that because of what it had cost me to have not done it. So when I tell you guys that it is much better to build your personal brand than your business brand, trust me, I have paid the cost to learn that lesson the very, very hard way. People were searching for me. They were not searching for PSI TV. And here's the thing. My PSI TV YouTube channel is over 23,000, but I just started focusing on the Trudy Beerman Trudy Beerman YouTube channel. And in a few months, the growth has exceeded. I went from I had the channel out there. I wasn't doing anything with it. I had about 599 subscribers. And then in June, when I started working on it, I'm now at over 2,100 subscribers. The growth on that in that short time was significantly faster than it took for me to grow the PSI TV YouTube channel. Why? Because one of the things I found is that people were looking for me. So when I'm telling them that I have this channel with these numbers of subscribers, and they go, but Trudy, I only see you have 1,000. One person in particular congratulated me when he looked me up and saw that I had just crossed the 1,000 mark on the Trudy Beerman channel. I was like, no, I had gotten a gift from YouTube from my PSI TV channel. And that's when the aha start clicking again. People look for you by your name. They're not looking for your business. My husband, he gets a ton of referrals. He's a local business contractor. People don't know the name of his business. My business coach, millions of followers. People do not know the name of his business. It was an expensive mistake. or an expensive lesson, you can learn it without the cost and the time span that I had to spend to get to understand that. Now, the search console, again, I rebuilt my Trudy Beerman website, rebuilt the PSI TV network website. And so, and I hadn't even put the Google tracking on my Influence Media News website. I just put it on this morning. Why? Because I know what the authority signals are. It's just, as I have spent this time getting to this point, you know, it's just so much you can accomplish in a certain amount of time, right? And these are not things I can delegate away yet, because I have to not only do it, but document what I'm doing, which is why I'm doing this now. So this documentation is going to allow for future delegation, because now I'll be able to create SOPs, standard operating procedures, on what it is that needs to be done, and I can hand it off. But as I work on my own brand, as my own case study, or work with my clients, a lot of it I have to be fully present to do myself. So the Search Console with the newly built websites are already seeing visitors come by. I'm also looking at where the visitors are coming from. And so these signals are very important, authority signals, and how long they stay on the page and all that, because is my site working? Is my site getting people to hang around and, you know, click and learn about me? This is the important thing. So I posted this 5 days ago. LinkedIn had shared with me that I had post impressions 525, profile viewers 276. What that means is a post impression is like a billboard on a highway. How many times, how many cars drove by and the billboard was there, whether they looked at it or not, the opportunity for them. So 500 in this week, okay? So 525 people had been exposed to my post or whatever. 276 actually went to my profile. That was like 52%. So this is huge, because a profile view means they were checking me out, not just a post view. Now they went to my profile. When you look at the analytics, guys, this is where you begin to see, are you really connecting? Is your message resonating? Here's the thing. A lot of you are creating content that you want to make, and that's where you have to start. In all fairness, you do have to start there. But if you do not look at the analytics to say what is working, what are people actually connecting with, which ones you should do more of a deep dive, which ones you may need to tweak and try again, the data will give you the feedback as to what is working, what people really want to learn from you, and that kind of a thing. So the Search Console is very important. If your websites aren't connected and being tracked, you need to pay attention to that as well. Now, my YouTube growth is also important, because YouTube is monetized for me. So this is one of the other things that I am going to be tracking, is not just the follower count at YouTube, the view counts, but the monetization is very important, because this is passive income. I was going to make those videos anyways, and now that the videos are making me some money. This is work I've already done that continues to pay me. So YouTube growth is an important authority signal, because YouTube is the second largest search engine. You can actually get further with a YouTube page than you can with social media. Now, I will say social media is rapidly changing, because Instagram and I believe Facebook groups only recently came on where they are now searchable by search engines. So this is amazing, because before, what happened in those platforms stayed in those platforms. They weren't searchable. But now, if your activity matches a search response, what someone's searching for, what you're doing in Facebook groups and in Instagram is now searchable on those search engines. But YouTube is the second largest search engine, and it's owned by Google. So when you make a YouTube video and it matches something that someone's searching for, if there's a YouTube video, it's going to go even above a blog. So you do want to have a presence on YouTube, because YouTube is a search platform, not just a social media one. And when you grow there, you can get monetized and really make some good money. Now, press mentions, again, mostly only since June. I've had press mentions probably more than 9 times, but 9 that I could verify. And the reason why I say it's more than 9 times is because I know that I had 3 articles that I were press releases that I sent to the press that got published. But on top of it, I had a client who was on my PSI TV, and he was so amazed by our time that he did several press releases for himself, many of which got published, and he kept tagging me because I was mentioned in several of them. Press mentions are awesome. They are strong authority signals for search engines because it's kind of like a third party validation of who you are and what you do. It points to you outside of your own ecosystem. So if PSI TV mentions me, well, that's me blowing my own horn, so to speak, right? But when a third party, or if you get a backlink from another website, these are things that say, hey, this topic, this person, this organization is worthy of note. So I will be looking to see how I can increase that. Not so much because I'm really wanting to have more press mentions, but because of the back effort of what I know it does as an authority signal. So I just mentioned that YouTube is one of the areas that I'm looking at because of the passive income growth. But my passive income growth right now averages about $700 a month, and I'm looking for that to grow. That is different from active income. Active income is when you show up and do the work and you get paid. So when I do a TV interview, for example, and I get paid, I have exchanged my time for money. But when I do a YouTube video and I get paid, I want to grow my passive income. It's going to be for me an important authority signal, whether or not this is something that the search engines can track. It is an important authority signal to me to show that something I'm doing is really working in a very successful way. So whether it's my TV channel subscriptions, my REACHology score sales, whatever, book sales, whatever, passive income is a fantastic thing to grow, and I will absolutely be focusing on that in 2026. So that is it for my baseline for 2025. I will be looking at my authority signals again throughout 2026. I will share them with you more than likely quarterly, maybe monthly. It depends. Definitely quarterly is my plan. And I am looking for that other personal brand who's willing to be vulnerable, show the mistakes, the fears, the frustrations, the successes visibly. I will always have other case study signals, guys, but I want one that's as transparent as this. So, for example, I have a lot of reviews. Those are results that are from clients, right? I have cases where a guest that was on television, when I Googled them, they had 0 Google presence. And then, a month or 2 after they appeared on my show, page 1 has several links that were created by us for that guest. So I have other measures of social proof, but the case study at that level where a full transparent growth is what I'm looking for. If you think you're the person, please, there will be a way for you to apply to share your story with me and why I should consider you. And hopefully I'll find someone else that's willing to be as transparent as I intend to be over 2026 about my own personal brand growth. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me. Thank you all for who have followed me, watched my videos, liked, comment, engaged. Sorry if you lost me on Facebook. If you're watching this and you do get a friend request from me, or you see a new profile, but I will be attempting to make another Facebook. And if you do see that, and definitely connect with me there as well. But thank you very much for all of 2025's engagement, following, views, likes, comments, phone calls, DMs. I've appreciated them all. You guys rock. And I look forward to an amazing, productive year in 2026. Thank you.